But can I play a piece from Steve Sarkisian? His team really handled their business. That was a mature win for them, right? Went in, dominated lines of scrimmage, again, didn't turn the football over outside of the special teams gaffes. The offense didn't turn it over. Quinn Ewers isn't throwing interceptions. He's been outstanding. Showed some athleticism with the running touchdown. Jonathan Brooks continues his ascent to the RB1 status for Texas. C.J. Baxter's healthy, and he had a touchdown. They got to figure out who's going to catch punts for them and make sure they secure the punt. That's a problem. But everything else looked pretty darn good. Here's Sark after the win on where this thing is headed, where it is, and where it's going.
Well, I think we're pretty good. It's been 3 years in the making of, putting a staff together, putting a scheme together, making adjustments to that scheme from year 1 to year 2, now year 2 to year 3. I think we've added depth to that roster on the defensive side of the ball on all 3 levels at the D line, at the linebacker, and then in the secondary. I think we have really good veteran leadership on defense from front to back. And then now what comes with that is confidence. Our offense and defense, we do a lot of good on good, and they have to defend us too every day in practice and throughout training camp. And there probably wasn't many days when I went into a press conference in training camp and I didn't say our defense had a really good day today, that our front had a really good day today. So they're pretty good, and I think we can be better. That's the beauty of it. We gave up a couple deep balls tonight that we knew was a point of emphasis, so we got to get that cleaned up. But I did love their resiliency, especially in the low red and getting those stops tonight.
All right, yeah. 3-year build on the defensive side with the same coaching staff is starting to pay dividends, and got to figure out those deep balls, Rod. I mean, Ryan Watts got beaten over the top. It does feel like teams are targeting their safeties in coverage.
Yeah.
And we saw Derek Williams. They call him the Raptor, the freshman from Louisiana. He was playing more as the game went on.
I believe Pro Football Focus had Derek Williams with the most snaps at safety. That's Pro Football Focus. I didn't try it myself, but
yeah,
that says that tells you that the Texas defensive coordinator or defensive coaches are thinking about maybe rotating some of those younger guys in more, I would say, early stages of the game, to try, like you said, to offset what teams may be trying to exploit, which is the lack of speed and the lack of coverage skills at safety.
Yeah, well,
we see Michael Taft every week, or at least 2 possessions.
Yeah, no, they love Taft.
But the speed isn't there with him.
Yes.
And when we saw them target him on one of his main positions, like they threw the 2 deep balls, I think 2 out of 3 plays on that drive.
It's pretty obvious that, and it's this thing, I think, Texas is fine. We're being nitpicky here, but I do think, because think about this, there's a couple of things that stood out in that Baylor game, right? Number one, they took Jahdae Barron off the field when they go 40 personnel, when they're dealing with heavy personnel, 12 or 21 personnel, which is 1 back, 2 tight ends, or 2 back, 1 tight ends. So if you're a team going up against Texas, you know how to take one of their best players off the field immediately. It's pretty easy. Go heavy. Yeah, right, go with a heavier set, and you'll take Jahdae Barron on the field. Now, what I would do if I was PK is I would just move Jahdae Barron to safety or corner, because he's better than all your other DBs. Why take him off the field just because you're going up against heavy personnel and he's at nickel? Put him at safety and put him at corner, because that would be, in my opinion, tactically a better adjustment, because they're trying to take your best player, one of your best players, off the field and attack linebackers and safeties in coverage with running backs and tight ends. I think that's going to happen in the Kansas game. And when they keep rotating safeties, they're going to be automatic audibles and checks by the Kansas offense that when Taft is in there, that we know we can go after them, and we can go after certain safeties, because we'll stay away from Catalan. We may even stay away from Jaron Thompson, but we know we have a matchup advantage going up against some of those other guys. So you may see that in this game. And yep, you're going to see them attack Ryan Watts on the deep ball. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. And now, we just had played a team in Baylor who couldn't attack you. And we said this last week, they didn't have a strength on offense, especially with their backup quarterback and without their best running back, Dominic Richardson. And their offensive line was no match for Texas. That was clear. Kansas is a ranked team now. They're 4-0, and they've got 3 different receivers that are over 170 yards already this year. They've got quarterbacks. They can attack your weakness, and they can attack that and set up, and as you talk about formationally, with their head coach Lance Leipold, they will attack your safeties. And you can play great everywhere else, but if they protect and they get the coverage they want, we saw it against Alabama. We saw it with Baylor this week.
Wyoming did it. Wyoming went after them a little bit.
They did. So I love your point about, as I said, I was doing the Inside Texas Watch with us, as always, and thanks to everybody that tuned in on that. Thank you. You joined me for the entire second quarter, which is a lot of fun to talk about the game with you as it's happening, which you can watch on YouTube on Texas Football Channel for Inside Texas. I said, Rod, there's no way that you're a better team or defense with Jahdae Barron on the sideline.
No way. It's just no.
That's not possible. He's one of your 3 best defensive players, and just because he's not a linebacker and they're going heavy, I understand it. I mean, it's a conundrum, but at the same time, if you're an opposing team, you're like, hey, look, we can go 2 tight ends, and we're going to get Jahdae Barron off the field.
Yeah, right. That's great. That's a win right there. And my thing was, it's simple. Ryan Watts, I'm not saying Ryan Watts is a liability, but if teams are picking on him, then take Ryan Watts out and just put Jahdae Barron in that corner.
Well, let's hear Sark. He was asked about rotating guys on defense, and Sark believes it keeps his team fresher, and they've got good players here, Sark, on that belief, and will it continue?
We rotated a lot of guys tonight on defense again, and that's a credit to the defensive staff of getting all those guys ready. The defensive front, most notably, but shoot, whether it was David Benda played well to go along with Anthony Hill, had a really good game. Derek Williams was in there, had a couple really nice third down stops. And so playing multiple people is only going to be beneficial for us, not only in game, but for the long haul. And so the fact that we can do that up front, that's huge, that our guys can be fresh when they're in there and they can make plays at critical moments.
All right, but this Kansas team schematically, and as the week goes on, Rod will take you deep dive on the scheme and how Kansas is just so dynamic with what they do with their passing game, their running game, their formations. Much like Sark, they a lot of motion, and they tax you in every way, and and maybe as talented as an offense, because watching Oklahoma, they're better offensively this year.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not as dynamic as Kansas at this point.
Isn't that crazy to say?
I know. Well, Lance Lightball's done an incredible job. He's done an incredible job. And that'll be a storyline as the week progresses.